Hey guys, it's Joshua here. Welcome back with another video. Sorry I've taken a little bit of a break from YouTube, but I'm back now. I saw Spider-Man No Way Home on Thursday, the latest addition to the MCU Spider-Man movies, and quite the event one with the Raimi villains coming back, the Mark Webb villain coming back. Quite the event of a movie, probably the biggest movie of the last 2 years. And I saw it on Thursday. I'm going to be reviewing it spoiler free. Spoiler free. Do not spoil it in the comment section if YouTube allows there to be a comment section. Which they probably won't, but if they do allow one, do not spoil anything in there. This is a spoiler free discussion. So, let's get in. So, obviously, there was tons of excitement for this movie. I mean, the premise alone. There's so much nostalgia for the Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies with Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Sandman, and bringing all those villains back for the new movie is quite the cool thing. And you have the Lizard, Electro, stuff like that coming from the Andrew Garfield ones too. So you got all the Spider-Man universes coming together. Plus, everybody loves the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, and now we just have this big crossover event, and it has high stakes. It's super exciting. This was basically everyone's most anticipated movie of the year, except for me. I was probably more excited for Dune and Ghostbusters, which those I still need to review. I'll do like short reviews for those. Sorry, I never covered those. So yeah, and I got to do the Suicide Squad too. Anyways, so there was tons of excitement for all of those, and we finally got the movie December 16th, and let's get started with this. So, first off, for some positive things about it, this is quite the event of a movie. So, you have all these villains coming back together, and you have so many different references to all the stuff going on, and I'm trying to do this as best as I can without spoiling it, but this is an absolute delight for Spider-Man fans. Anybody who has any investment in any of these characters from different universes will love this movie, as it's just such a... This has moments that will make your entire theater turn into like a football stadium. This is like the biggest movie since Endgame, and there is a lot of fun to be had with these characters coming back. You have Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2, which I'm a big fan of, and then you have Green Goblin from the original. You have Sandman, Lizard, Electro. You got all those guys coming back, and it is so much fun to see them all banding up together, and you get a lot of banter between them with Raimi villains talking to Maguire villains, and why do I keep saying Maguire villains? I mean Garfield villains. So you get a lot of those interactions, and it's fun seeing them all realize about the multiverse and what's really going on with all this. And so yeah, it's a total blast. Plus, they're also very well handled. So Green Goblin to me was the absolute standout of the movie, as he's just so menacing, so terrifying, so much fun in this movie. Willem Dafoe is amazing as him, as always, and he was the standout of this movie. But you also have Doc Ock, who's always great too. And they actually improve upon characters like Electro, who is way better in this movie. And they're all super well handled. I was worried with 5 different villains that it would get messy and be too all over the place, but I didn't feel that really. They all were really well balanced, and it worked out pretty darn well. So, yeah, I really liked that about the movie. And this also is one of the more emotional Spider-Man movies. So, there's a lot of emotional weight to this movie, and once again, I'm trying to say this without spoiling anything. There are some pretty heavy-hitting moments inside of this movie that are pretty strong, both sad ones and happy ones. And if you're a fan of these movies, they will definitely hit you. Some of them referencing previous ones, and some of them being just specifically about this universe. There are a lot of things that are going to be gut wrenching in this movie in all the right ways. The acting is really good. This is probably Tom Holland's best performance in this movie. In all the Spider-Man movies, I think he does his best here. He is really great in this. And then Zendaya, Jacob Batalon, all those people, all the previous actors, they're all great too. And this is just a really great Spider-Man film too, as this tells a story that is very Spider-Man centric, and this is probably the one where he feels the most like Spider-Man. So I've heard from a lot of people the ending is like an absolute joy for everyone, and the ending, I have a little thing about it that I'm sure I'll talk about that in a spoiler review, but yeah, it is definitely one that's going to make you go insane as a diehard Spider-Man fan, and it's really cool. And then this is just a really satisfying conclusion for all three universes. You have these characters that never really got their proper resolutions in the Sam Raimi universe, characters that definitely didn't get their proper resolution in the Andrew Garfield ones, and so you get the real proper conclusions to these characters that we've been waiting for, and I think that's a great thing. And so this is a movie that is going to please tons of people. It's a great Spider-Man movie. It has a lot of emotional moments, and you have so many returning faces, so many big, crowd-pleasing, crazy football stadium mode moments that I'm sure people are going to dig up. And so that's what I have to say for positives. So I personally loved this movie. I thought it was a ton of fun, but I do have a few little issues with it. And first off, so for the negatives, I'm trying to find the best way to say this without spoiling it. So, for this movie to work, there are a lot of leaps in logic throughout the plot of the movie. Not even just the beginning, which is the main one people are talking about, which that is a very silly beginning to get this emotion, but in general, I just feel like they have to make some pretty strong gaps in logic to be able to for this plot structure to work. And so it came off as a little bit messy at times. So it's a ton of fun, but it can be kind of nonsensical with the way some scenes play out. I'm trying to be as vague as possible. And also, sometimes the fan service can be a little bit too much, and I loved most of it. Most of it was really well done. Sometimes it's like fourth wall breaking, and it just goes super weird, and it's funny, but it starts to pull you out a little bit. Like, okay, maybe dial it back just a little, reel it back in. It's fun, but maybe tighten up just a tiny bit so you don't like go too absolutely insane with it. But yeah, it is a ton of fun still, regardless, and I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. So I guess for my final thoughts on it, I don't know if this is going to work. It is. No, it's not. Okay. This is okay. So, Spider-Man: No Way Home. This is so okay. Spider-Man No Way Home is a blast of entertainment. It's an absolute delight for Spider-Man fans. It's such a crowd pleaser. My theater like absolutely went insane for most of these. All the big cameos, all the big ones. There's so much to enjoy about this movie. There's a lot of emotional weight, and there's a lot of great character writing for Spider-Man. Now, there are some big gaps in logic in this movie, and sometimes they go a little bit too far with like the fourth wall breaking jokes. But overall, I really liked this movie. I can give it a B plus and an 8.5 out of 10, and I recommend this to all Spider-Man fans. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Adios.